Selenium WebDriver. Selenium WebDriver is an open source framework for automating web browser interactions. And in order to understand Selenium WebDriver, there are some concepts we need to understand, starting with WebDriver, WebElement, Locator Strategies, that is strategy to determine or to find the web element, and we look at some examples and common challenges when we work with the Selenium WebDriver. So let's start with the Selenium WebDriver. It's a interface. Okay, so we work with different kind of browsers. We have the Chrome driver, the Chromium, which is an open source a browser by Google, which has some privacy control. We have Edge driver, Firefox, IE, right? So depending upon which driver, which browser you want to work with, you invoke that particular driver. So if I want to use Chrome, I will do a new Chrome driver, and this web driver gives me certain methods like get to open the particular web page, close to close that driver, quit if there are multiple pages, multiple web pages that open, I can close all of them using quit, find element, and so on, right? And if you look at any web page, you will have certain elements. These are called nothing but web elements. If I want to go to downloads, right, this is a particular web element that I have to click, and in order to find this web element, we have to use some strategy. It's like an address. If somebody wants to send a letter, they have to send it to a particular address, and the address has to be correct, else it would be delivered to the wrong person. It's the same way that if you want to interact with certain elements on this web page, you have to identify them properly, else you will be interacting with some other element. So we have interface called as web element, and the web element also gives us some methods. When you interact with the elements, you could clear them. If it's a box, it's a search box, you could clear it. If it is a link, you could click on it, right? If you can also send keys, you can send some information, you can fill the box with something if you want to search for something, right? So these methods are provided for interacting with the web element. Strategies in order to find the web element. Okay, they are called as Locator Strategies. So in order to find the web element, we can locate them using the class name, CSS Selector, ID, name, LinkText, text, partial LinkText, TagName, or the XPath. So if I have a page, this is the HTML elements, and I have an element called as input with all these attributes, and if I want to determine this particular element using the class name, then I would do by .className information. If I want to use by name, I would use fname. By ID, I could use the ID that is provided here. So we have to uniquely identify this particular element, else as I mentioned earlier, if there are multiple elements, we will have a problem with when the script runs. Let us look at these examples. So as I mentioned earlier, by class name information, you would find the elements like this: by ID, by name, by partial LinkText, by LinkText, by XPath, there is certain format we will see later, and by CSS Selector. Now for partial LinkText and LinkText, this works only for anchor tags. That is only when there is a link. So you see this only when it only works for anchor tags. You can't use LinkText for P or input or any other tags. Okay, so here you can put the entire text, which is Selenium official page, which is for LinkText, or partial, say just Selenium if you're searching for partial value of the text, find the locator for a particular web element. Okay, I can do a function F12, so that kind of gives me the HTML for this page, or I can go to that particular element and just do a inspect. Okay, so it will take me exactly where the element is. Now in the case of this search box, let's say I have a class name and I try to see if this is unique. I can do a command F not a control F, and I search for it. Okay, but here you see we have two matches, which means that by class name I cannot uniquely identify this element. So I need to find something which is which may be unique in these two matches. Okay, one of the things is this ID. I see that this here we have doc search 1, and in the other case I have a doc search 0. Okay, so if I do a CSS selector search, that is a class name, an ID, and then a class for this string, then I find that there's only one match, which is the element that we want. So when you are searching for the locator, make sure that there's just one match. If there are multiple matches, then it would cause an issue. Similarly, if you look at one more element, okay, so this is this is a link, so it's within the anchor tag. There are many ways of searching this. I can do a search for say href is equal to I think it was downloads, right? So here I have just one match. Okay, so I'm able to find using XPath anchor tag and the attribute href, which is downloads. So we can, whenever you're doing Selenium testing, most of the time you will be looking for elements and interacting with it, and to find the locator you can use the elements tag and make sure that whatever locator you choose has to be unique. It has just to be one. And you also have to be careful when you are using the attributes. Sometimes attributes have IDs which keep changing every time you load the page. So when you choose an attribute value, make sure that it is static. If it is dynamic, then you will have to change your strategy in order to find it every time the page loads. Some of the challenges that you may encounter when you're doing Selenium testing. So let's say that I open a web page and I look for locators. I click on this Locator strategy, and then maybe I'll go to overview. So if you look at this process that I did manually, at every point I waited, right? I waited for this box to open, and then I added some value, then I clicked. But when the script runs, it can run very fast, which means that before the page is loaded, you are looking for an element, and that is why you will not find an element and the script will fail. So apart from the fact that you have to find the elements uniquely, there is a lot of problems that arise due to loading of page. So it's important to handle these issues. I have written a small script for the same that I explained just now. We have I'm using a Chrome browser, so a new Chrome driver. Go to a particular web page, click on search. I'm putting locator in the search box, and then I'm clicking on one of the search results and then going to overview. So if I run this script, you will see that it fails. It will fail because it goes very fast. As soon as you put a search locator, you are looking for the next element, which it will not find. Yes, the page is loading. failed because it couldn't find the particular element. It was very fast. So that is why I have added this implicit wait. An implicit wait means for every element that it searches, it's going to wait for 5 seconds and it won't fail till, it gives basically 5 seconds to find that element. If I run this script again, okay, this should pass because now it will have enough time for the page to load and look for the search results. Okay, so it searched, okay, it did not fail, and then it went to overview. So you see it passed without any issue, all because we waited for the page to load. So this is very important that when you're writing Selenium scripts, look for the elements correctly, make sure it's unique, and ensure that the page is loading correctly at different points. What is a WebDriver WebElement, how to find locators with some example, and the common challenges when we do Selenium WebDriver automation. In the next session, we'll look at XPath and CSS Selector in detail.